Hi friends, it's Morah Sherry and she's here with her helper,
Sarah.
Hi Sarah. What are we making today?
Blueberry muffins.
Blueberry muffins, and we have a recipe. What's a recipe?
A recipe is what all the ingredients that you need, and ingredients are the things that you put in the food.
That's right. A recipe is all the ingredients that you need to put into your food. So here it is, and we're gonna do it one by one. It's very easy, and you guys can make this with your mommies or your daddies or your big sister or your big brother. And we're gonna start with all the ingredients that we have right here. This is the wet ingredients. Wet ingredients means that they're droopy or liquidy. They're not dry. Dry ingredients are on this side, and that's the things that are not wet and drippy, like the flour and the salt and the baking powder and the baking soda. So we're gonna do all the wet ingredients first. We're gonna start with, on my recipe, half a cup
of honey.
Honey. Okay, so Morah Sherry has a trick. Morah Sherry actually sprays the measuring cup with oil so that the honey doesn't stick to it and it can drip right out, okay? So we're gonna squeeze honey right into the measuring cup until we get to half a cup. You can squeeze it, Sarah, go ahead. And we're gonna check until it gets to half a cup. Keep going, squeeze hard. Good. Okay, you ready? Okay, now we're gonna pour it in. That's half a cup, good. Pour it into our big mixing bowl. We're using a big mixing bowl so that we have less of a mess, right? We have more room to mix.
It's like the biggest bowl that we have in the house, almost.
Almost the biggest. We have a bigger one for our challah dough, right?
Of course we do.
Okay. The next thing we need is
milk.
1 cup of milk. Now we are going to use parve milk. That means this isn't milk from a cow. This is parve milk. This is called almond milk, but if you have nut allergies, you can use coconut milk or soy milk. Okay, we're gonna pour it up to the 1 cup line. Go ahead, up to there. Here we go, 1 cup. Keep going, good. I'm gonna get a mixing spoon. You do it until it gets to the 1 cup line. Good. Now, if you wanna make that recipe dairy, you can use, good job. Okay, if you wanna make it dairy, you can use regular milk, but we're using almond milk for today. Okay, go ahead, pour it in. Good, okay, that was our second ingredient. All the way, you can do all of it, all of it. Okay, our next ingredient is?
Eggs.
How many?
2.
2, okay, we have 2 eggs here. Now, before we crack an egg and put it into our mixing bowl, we like to use a clear measuring cup to make sure there's no dirt or shells inside the egg, okay? So go ahead, you can crack it. Use 2 hands to open it up. Use 2 hands to open it up. Good, you see a lot of shells. A lot of shells went in there. Okay, so we're gonna put the egg in without the shells. Okay, let's pour it in without the shells. There you go.
Perfect. Blueberries are very healthy. It's good that we're making blueberry muffins.
Yeah, blueberries are very healthy. Okay, I'm gonna throw away the shells that we have.
My favorite is frozen blueberries.
You can use frozen blueberries in this recipe, or you can use fresh blueberries. We're gonna use fresh blueberries. Okay, I'm going to crack the next egg so that it's a little bit cleaner, but it was fun cracking the first one, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
there's a shell.
there is a shell that was left over from your shell, so I'm going to move that out of there. There we go. Okay, and is the egg clean?
Of course it is.
Okay, sometimes they're not. We have to check if it's clean. Okay.
All the eggs that we
The next
have
thing we need, that's right, the next thing we need is 3 tablespoons of coconut oil or regular oil. I'm going to use regular oil. Okay, a tablespoon is big spoon, so here we go. 1, 2, 3 big spoons. Good. Okay, the next thing we're going to need, that our last wet ingredient is 1 teaspoon of
vanilla.
good vanilla. Good reading. Okay. 1 teaspoon. A teaspoon is a smaller spoon. There we go, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now, Sarah, you can mix all the wet ingredients with the spoon. Go ahead.
Mix.
Good job. Okay, so all of our wet ingredients are mixed. And now we're going to add what kind of ingredients, Sarah?
Flour.
Flour, that's the dry ingredients. Here are all of our dry ingredients. So we need 1 3/4 cups of flour. So it's already measured into our measuring cup right here. Sarah's gonna pour it in slowly while I mix it. Okay, slowly. Good job. There you go. Make sure it's all out. You can tap it out from the bottom. There you go. Okay.
Perfect.
Good.
Perfect.
Okay, the next thing we need is 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Baking powder is also dry. It's not drippy and liquidy like the other ingredients. It's still dry. So you're gonna put in the baking powder. I'm going to measure it onto the spoon. 1/2 teaspoon. 1/2 teaspoon is a small, oh, you know what? Sorry, I made a mistake. 1 teaspoon, 1 whole spoon. A small spoon. A teaspoon is a small spoon of baking powder. Go ahead, pour that in. Good, you can keep mixing. Now you can keep mixing. Good.
I love to mix.
I like having a helper, right?
It's the best having one.
The next dry ingredient we need is baking soda. 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, I'm gonna pour it in while you mix. Good. A teaspoon, remember, is a smaller spoon, and a tablespoon is a bigger spoon. Okay, now we need 1/2 teaspoon, it's a small spoon again, of salt. There you go, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Good mixing. Good, keep mixing.
Mixing.
Okay, and 2 more ingredients. Cinnamon. I know that my class Nursery 6 knows what cinnamon is because we like to smell it, and it smelled very good. And some of the Yeladim in my class said that they use cinnamon for Havdalah on Motzei Shabbat. They smell this.
But it's besamim.
Besamim is also another thing to smell, but cinnamon smells very good. Okay, we're going to put in 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, but because we like cinnamon, we're gonna add a little bit more. Okay, we really like cinnamon in our house.
I like the smell.
Okay, now remember, there are blueberry muffins. What is the last ingredient that we're missing in our blueberry muffin batter?
It's small, it's blue, and it's blueberries.
It's blueberries, that's right, good mixing. Okay, so now here's a trick, moms. We're going to add a little bit of flour to our blueberries so that the blueberries don't sink to the bottom of the muffin. So here, I added some flour to my blueberries. Good. And we're going to gently mix the blueberries. Gently. Good. Okay, I'm going to show the yellow team what the batter looks like. Batter looks good. Okay, I also want to tell the yellow team that we used a flour called spelt flour, but if they have regular white flour at home or whole wheat flour, they could do that too. But we use spelt flour because it's healthy for our family, but whole wheat flour is even healthy too because it has a lot of fiber in it. But if you have white flour, that's fine too. Okay, now we're going to pour it into our muffin tins and bake it. We're gonna bake it at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes, okay? Everybody's oven is different, but we're gonna try it like that. Okay, we'll see you soon. Okay, so we poured our batter into our muffin tins. We have also muffin liners, and we're gonna put it in the oven. They smell delicious already. Okay, so here are the blueberry muffins. They smell delicious. And remember, there's the recipe right there. Enjoy it.